Hello everyone and welcome to LifeMission Church. It is good to be with you guys today, and it is the start of a brand new month. We are in summer. It is June. And hey, at the start of a brand new month, we get to do a lot of different things. And one thing we get to do is we want to celebrate birthdays. And if you have a birthday in the month of June, happy birthday. I hope that it is your best year yet. And we got so many fun things planned in store coming up this month that you don't want to miss it. But before I get going, I want to give a special shout out to our friends in Ottawa, Olathe, and a special shout out to my friend Anthony. What is going on, Anthony? It's good to see you. And our friends at our Kansas City, Kansas campus, it is good to be with you. And I have a question for you, like I always do, is how many of you like to be in the lead? You know, how many of you like to make the direction known, lead the way that it's going? How many of you maybe have played Mario Kart? And here's why I say that in regards to Mario Kart. When you're playing, you can always look in the bottom corner, you can see that you're in first place, or maybe when I play like 7th or 8th, there's always like an 8th or a 7th or sometimes 12. Like Moo Moo Meadows is really hard for me, and that's one of my favorite. I like Coconut Mall and different stuff, and okay, sorry, I won't talk about the game, but what I do want to talk about is that we really like to know if we're in the lead. And we want to lead, right? And how many of you want to know if you're in the lead? And by the way, how many of you have like a number that shows when you're walking around? If you're in 1st, 3rd, 7th, 8th, 12th place? Okay, well, we don't have a number showing that we're in the lead, but I want to talk to you about being in the lead, being a leader. Everyone wants to lead, whether it's in a race, in Mario Kart, or maybe it's being in a band. Or maybe it's whatever instrument it is that you're playing, you like to be the leader of a band. And especially in summer, we have parades and different things that happen. And what's in the parade? Someone leading the pack, someone leading the band. So tell me, what is it that you like about being a leader? And what are some things that you can be a leader in? Now, those are some interesting things that we can talk about when it comes to being a leader, whether we want to be the leader of a band, leader of a team, leader of something in school. We all want to be a leader. But if you look around you, there's all different kinds of leaders. And that's something that we really want to talk about, and we really want to focus on this month, is talking about leaders and how there's leaders in the Bible and how there's all different kinds of leaders. And today I want you to focus on someone who is a leader. And this individual was a very special person. And their name is Deborah. That's right, Deborah. Deborah was a judge in the Old Testament time of the Bible. And you can find her story in the book of Judges. And Deborah was a person who oversaw people, who was able to speak. She was a prophet as well, where she heard from God. And she has a great story of how she was put in a position of leadership and how she heard from God. Now, before I go anywhere further on this, I think it'd be better, why don't you listen to my friend and listen to what they have to say in the interesting story about the leadership of Deborah.
So part of God's story is about a woman named Deborah. And it goes like this. God's special family was in some trouble. You see, Israel had started to turn away from God and stop following him. But because God loved his family, he wanted to send them a reminder that he was in charge and that it was really important to follow him. And so, God allowed Jabin, the king of Canaan, to take over Israel. Now, Jabin had left Sisera, the commander of his armies, in control of Israel. And Sisera? Well, he wasn't exactly the nicest guy. In fact, the Bible tells us that he had over 900 iron chariots, which meant he was really powerful, and he loved to bully the Israelites. The Israelites tried to resist, but they couldn't do it on their own. After 20 long years of trying to rescue themselves, Israel cried out to God and asked him to rescue them. Kids, it's always a good idea to ask for God's help. Even though God was king of his family, he chose people to lead them. They were called judges. One judge was named Deborah. She was also a prophet. Remember, a prophet is someone who hears from God and shares it. Deborah was a strong, powerful woman who listened to God, helped settle arguments among the Israelites, and worked to lead her nation back to their rescuer. Pretty cool, huh? And she had a message from God. He had heard the cries of the Israelites. So Deborah sent for a man named Barak and told him that if he took 10,000 men up to a place called Mount Tabor, she would bring Commander Sisera to him. Then they could stop Sisera from bullying Israel. But Barak wasn't so sure. In fact, he was pretty worried. He said that he would only go if Deborah would come with him. Deborah told Barak not to worry because God was going to deliver Commander Sisera not through him, but through the hands of a woman. Barak obeyed and gathered his men at Mount Tabor. But when Sisera heard about this new army, he rushed out to battle them with all 900 chariots rumbling along the ground. Now, Deborah could have been scared, but she knew God was with her. She said, "Get ready. This is the day the Lord will give you victory over Sisera, for the Lord is marching ahead of you." So Barak and his men charged Sisera and his army. The soldiers went forward, and with God's help, defeated Sisera's chariots. Every one of his soldiers were killed, so Sisera went running for his life. He ran to a tent owned by a woman named Jael and asked her to hide him. She agreed and covered him with a blanket. He was pretty tired from all that running, so inside the tent, he fell asleep. When Barak arrived at the camp, Jael led him to Sisera's body. Just like Deborah had prophesied, Sisera had been delivered to Barak through the hands of a woman. With Sisera gone, God led his special family in battle after battle, until Jabin, king of all of Canaan, had to surrender before the little nation of Israel. After that, Deborah and Barak burst into song, praised God, and celebrated how God had saved his family. And then there was peace for 40 years. And that's the story of Deborah.
Now that's a very interesting story, and what's even better, it's like a movie or anything else, but it's true. It's from the Bible, God's Word. And it's amazing how God could use Deborah. I think there's a lot of times that people might think, well, this person can't do this or this person can't do that, but yet God was able to use Deborah in so many different ways. She was a fierce, brave leader in a time where people might not have looked upon her to do that. But yet it didn't matter what people thought, it was more important about what God thought. And about how she was able to lead people. She was able to read Barak, and how he was able to take over all of those chariots that were coming against him, and how they were able to lead the armies of God into victory. And here's the thing I want you to know, is that we don't have to think that we have to look or act or talk or dress just a certain way to be a leader, but yet how God can use us, can use everyone to be a leader. Did you hear me? Can use everyone. Yeah, you're sitting at home watching this, or you're sitting at KCK, Ottawa, or Olathe. God can use you to be a leader. But the thing that you notice about Deborah, and the thing that you're going to notice as we talk about this in the weeks coming up, is that these individuals, they didn't rely on how they dressed, or how they talked, or how they stood, or anything, but yet they relied upon what God was telling them. They were leaning upon God's instruction and understanding. And that's also something I want you to know about for this month's verse. This month's memory verse is Micah 6:8. Micah 6:8. And it says, "What does the Lord require of you?" You ever ask, hey, what's required of me? What do I need to do? Well, here's a good answer to that question. It's Micah 6:8. It says, "What does the Lord require of you? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." So, what kind of a leader can Deborah be and others? Well, to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Deborah is a great example of that. And how can you do the same thing in your life and be a leader among people among you?